may length, may specific location, may work program. So, ibig sabihin, pwede rin ilagay yung station number.
Possible po, Mr. Chairman.
Hindi possible. Dapat ilagay yung station number. Kasi kung hindi, narinig yung kaninang conversation, di ba ho? Kung ang kalsada nalalagyan ng station number, ang school nalalagyan ng school ID, dapat rin yung FMR. Dahil for all intents and purposes, kalsada rin to eh. Kalsada rin ho to. May specific purpose lang nga, no? Farm to market. So, dapat meron din ho tong station number at the very least para malaman ho natin kung nasaan at hindi ho madoble yung FMR.
Correct, Mr. Chairman. We subscribe to the wisdom of putting the station number, but we also have to i-clear lang po namin that prior to the implementation of the FMRs, DPWH and DA conducts a joint geotagging of the start and the end of the project. So both agencies are aware kung saan po magsisimula at magtatapos yung mga proyekto po ito. But we could also include in the list of the FMRs the specific coordinates, geotag location po nito.
Actually, hindi pa namin ito nabangga yung earlier years, no? Kasi nga, sa dami ng ano. But I am assuming marami rin dito mga repeated projects. In terms of title. In terms of title. Tama?
Mr.
I'm
Chairman,
not saying repeated as in na ulit ginawa yung project, but repeated in terms of title. Yung nakita natin sa DPWH. No?
yes, correct, Mr. Chairman. But instead of putting a generic name, we put phase 1 and phase 2 kasi it's possible po na the entire need is 2 kilometers yet the fund allocated is only for 1 kilometer. So we put phase 1 and if case there would be an additional funding for the following year, we put phase 2 on it.
Pero itong mga ito, meron na itong location, may length, at meron ng work program.
Wala pa pong work program. We just have a validated name, coordinates, and the length. But for the program of works, that's the responsibility of the DPWH.
But these are all in your master plan.
Correct, sir.
So pwede nang i-identify, sabi nyo kanina yung coordinates, pwede nang ma-identify yung
Correct,
length.
sir.
So ilagay na rin natin.
Correct.
Para hindi na, the same, no? Para hindi magkaroon ng duplication, repeated, hindi rin magkaroon ng discretion on the ground kung anong gagawin.
Correct, sir. We
Alright,
could do that po.
Okay, so submit nyo rin sa amin by Friday?
Yes, sir.
Oo. And then yung 8 billion na hindi ma-track down, kung hindi yan pasok sa master plan ninyo, ang inclination ng Senado, tanggalin na yon. Hindi pasok sa master plan eh.
Or, Mr. Chairman, an alternative would be to look at a possible replacement
Pwede
coming
rin.
from the FMRNP.
Yes, pwede
so
rin.
that means
Pwede
we could allocate for those unfunded, validated, feasible.
We can do that. So, can you suggest to us na rin kung anong ipapalit doon sa mga wala sa master plan?
Sige po, Mr. Chair.
Kayo na rin mag-suggest in that location. Alright, sige. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. You recognize Senator Lauren? Yeah.
Before we proceed with my questions, Mr. Chair, I think you were in the DNR hearing. Yes, I'm glad that Senator JV is also here. I think you were there in the DNR hearing. And Undersecretary Carlos Primo David mentioned about DNR studies on flood control because I asked him about it. And can I have the yung tenon? It's now. Can you please briefly explain what you explained in the hearing and not to pit you against another department? Oh, huwag ka mahiya yung sinabi nyo. Sabihin ko rin totoo, hindi po kami pinakikinggan ng DPWH. In so many words, right? Did you say that or is it my own words? You said there was a plan, you presented it to DPWH, and I said, so what happened? Kasi hindi dapat scientific, nature-based, science-based ang construction. Hindi naman lahat kailangan semento, iba nature-based. But I'll go to that later. But you said that DNR had a plan because I put all the water agencies together and I was asking them one by one. It took us the whole day. Anyway, and you said you had a plan, not you personally, the department submitted to DPWH, but it was not heeded. Am I accurate in my remembering what happened a few weeks ago, Undersecretary David?
Mr. Chair, that was in the context of a meeting I had in 2024 with officials of the DPWH, wherein we were planning for convergence projects. And these are projects that have multiple benefits for flooding, for water supply, irrigation, and so on. DNR and NIA submitted a list of convergence projects to DPWH, but they were not considered during that time.
Pakipaliwanag po, DNR, NIA, and all the water agencies, should there not be clear coordination between the water agencies, and should there not be environment impact assessment for all the flood mitigation measures? Should there not be ECCs granted for all the flood control projects, whether it's a dike, a revetment? And to be fair, as a climate adaptation advocate for 3 decades now, flood mitigation, flood control is a climate adaptation measure. But hindi naman kailangan puro semento. I may nature-based solutions, the others naman are infrastructure. So hindi natin minamasama ang flood control na tama yung paggawa. So kindly explain, and do you have a short, I don't know if you have the time for a presentation, but
Mr. Chair, I have a 15-minute presentation. It's 2 pages long, so baka iklihan ko na lang.
Chair, wag na 15 minutes, 5
sige.
minutes. O,
Bilisan ko na lang.
ganun mo lang. Pakita mo
Sige.
lang, and then we just want to know from the agency, DPWH, if indeed you received it, and what happened, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe there shouldn't be coordination, maybe it should stand alone and ignore DNR, but in my mind and in my work for decades, I know that infrastructure must take into consideration the natural ecosystem around it. You just don't build a dike without knowing where the water goes. And we cannot fight the water. Kailangan may mga small water impounding, kailangan may mga rain gardens, kailangan may yung pababa, sabi ni Sec Babe Singson. Oo, so yes, Sec Bison.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to my friend, Undersecretary CP, but Senator Legarda, Mr. Chair, is absolutely correct. And just to emphasize, for the projects that we have visited and investigated, wala pong ni isang flood control project na may ECC. Wala. Ni isa. Exactly. Yun din po ang tanong namin, ma'am. Yung pong mga binisita ni Presidente, yung mga binisita namin, na iniimbestigahan namin ngayon, wala pong ECC. Yun po, wala pong ECC yung mga proyektong yan. So, and I could not agree more with Senator Legarda, Mr. Chairman. Ma'am, to be quite frank, wala nga pong building permit sa LGU Yung pong sa Mindoro, yung pong ginawa po doon ng sa Nauhan, sa bayan mismo ng governor ng Mindoro, Oriental Mindoro. Si Governor, yung pong ginawa ng Sunwest at St. Timothy at Alpha Omega. Elite. Wala pong building permit, wala pong ECC. Just for the record, Mr. Chairman, and we could not agree more with Senator Legarda's observations. Thank you po.
Thank you, Secretary. Yusek, pwedeng pakita mo lang yung 15 minutes mo. Pag sabi ng chair na mag-stop, stop na.
Yes, mabilis lang.
5 minutes mo.
Mabilis.
3 minutes. Sige.
Actually, Mr. Chair, sinulat ko na para wala ng ad-lib dito. Okay, next slide, please. The DNR, through the Water Resource Management Office, serves as co-chair of the DepDev Infrastructure Committee on the Subcommittee on Water Resources. The SCWR advocates for increased investment in the water sector, aims to reduce duplication of government projects, and promotes accountability and project convergence among the different departments. Next slide, please. in 2023, and this is where everything started, the DPWH submitted 304 billion worth of flood control projects and 14 billion worth of solar water supply projects to the SCWR, which I co-chair, for inclusion in the DBM program Convergence budgeting. Next slide, please. The subcommittee requested additional documentation from DPWH, such as master plans and project impact assessments, and agreed as a group that these projects need to be monitored as part of its coordination and policy oversight functions of the SCWR, similar to what we are doing with the other water projects in the different departments. Next slide, please. And so in the beginning of 2024, we started monitoring the flood control projects using DNR regional personnel supported by satellite technology, and this is one tool that I'm promoting that DPWH and other agencies need to utilize. This photo was taken on October 23, 2025, which can clearly mark the start and end of any infrastructure project, may it be a dike or a road or a building. And in terms of identification, it is very, very easy. Next slide, please. We use geospatial data analytics and artificial intelligence in monitoring projects. Since then, we have assessed over 5,300 flood control projects like this one you are seeing, implemented from 2021 to 2024. Next slide. All findings are compiled in an online dashboard that has been shared with PMS, DBM, and DPWH, allowing validation of our assessments on the ground. Next slide. We classify projects into three categories. Validated, meaning they are confirmed to exist and effectively protect communities from flooding. This is about 23% of all the projects that we have assessed. Ghost projects actually come in many forms, not just those that are unconstructed, but also those that are duplicated within the same funding year or in previous years. Projects that are located in invalid sites wherein there are no rivers or creeks, or also incomplete wherein the prescribed length is actually much shorter than what is funded. The third kind, next slide please, which I wish to focus on, are the poorly situated projects. Here's an example pala of multiple projects in a single river. Ito yung nakakalitong pinag-uusapan kanina. In this slide, in Kamiling River, you will see 8 projects now funded in different years with different funding. But if you plot it in a map like this, you will readily see that there are overlaps in the projects. And when you compute for the length versus the total amount, for example, the 99 million pin over there should stop at the next pin, which is 98.5 million. That length is only 200 meters, which means that the dike has a unit linear cost of about 500,000 per linear meter. No, so it is only through geospatial data such as this that you will see some of the other problematic issues related to flood control. Next slide, please. The poorly situated projects are, in my personal opinion, are more important even compared to the ghost projects that we have been investigating. Every time we constrict, block, divert, or alter natural waterways, we change the velocity and volume of water flow. In this particular case, in New Bataan, Davao de Oro, it is clearly seen that the dike constricts the river, makes it straight, no, instead of meandering, and the effect of this is that the flow of water actually becomes faster, and the volume of water that will normally spread, no, throughout its floodplain will now be diverted further downstream, creating more floods downstream. Next slide, please. In effect, constructing river dikes to protect one area often transfers the flood risk to another area. Here's another example in Tarlac, wherein there are two dike projects that obviously weren't coordinated to each other. The river flows from left to right, and because there is a gap in the dikes that were constructed,